What's up, family? Welcome back to the channel. I am Thatbaldbrutha, and today we're going to be talking about another content creator. I am Courtneymichelle. She recently did a live stream where she was discussing uh, the topic about black black women competing against Latina women for black men's attention. She had a number of guys come on there and share some really important thoughts, but I wanted to touch on some topics she mentioned in the beginning because I felt like what she was saying needed to be said, but also address in my opinion, the overarching issue. So with that, let's get into it.
Talking about competition between the Black woman and the Latina woman. Wanted to talk about this today because it's been very heavenly in the manosphere. It's a lot of talk about Black women, how we should be a little nervous. Some people are saying scared that Latin women are taking our men and that we're not going to have the Black man because other cultures are taking it. So I want to dig deep and dive into that conversation. Um, it is important to me, and I'll get deep into that as well. And of course, I'm going to take calls because I want men and I especially want Black women to get into this conversation because, again, I'm hearing it in the Black manosphere, but not necessarily Black women and giving their take on if they do feel like we are in competition with other cultures of women, specifically the Latina woman.
Before she gets into that, I just want to say real quick. See, this whole thing with the culture, with black men going to other cultures to find women, or men in general going to other cultures, because white men doing it too. I think that their women are raised to be a certain kind of way when it comes to being in a relationship. They're raised to be submissive. It's part of their culture. Now, this isn't to say that it's better or worse. That's just the way it is. And our society is pushing for women to have more manly traits. And I feel like men don't like manly women. Those other women are, now there's a caveat though, right? Those women in other cultures, they are pushed by their families to find a man that can take care of them and their family. That's another part that's not really discussed. Those other cultures are pushing their women to do different things, and it's less of a headache, I guess, is what you're gonna, which some of the guys even mentioned during the panel. This is less of a headache because they're accustomed to letting the man lead, knowing their place, per se, and then that's what's appealing to American men these days.
It's unfortunate, however, because this conversation, it's nothing new. For as long as I can remember, I do remember, the the Rosie Perez of the days where, Black men did have an affinity for Spanish women. In the South, it was kind of a little different. Our culture here is a tad, we're not as diverse in the South. It's usually you Black, white, Mexican, Asian, or a mix between those four. But I know, like, traveling in New York and looking at people and thinking a woman is Black until she opens her mouth and starts speaking fluent Spanish. And it's like, oh, okay, so this is a little different. And so learning about Dominicans and Puerto Ricans, it kind of opened up my eyes to a lot of things. And then seeing things on TV, media, hip hop music, videos was like, okay. And then, of course, hearing stuff from my own Black men in my community saying that, they have a thing for the Bonicuas. So that was interesting. Being in this space, I've had conversations with, of course, other women that are not Black. And what's interesting is that I myself has always gotten pinned back and forth with someone that didn't look like me. It was as if I couldn't have dialogue with someone of another race. It was always a comparison. So I always thought that that was interesting. And I want to bring up something that I saw. I'm going to share it. So I was on a panel with Sister George, and again, you know, just talking my talk like I usually do. And then these are some of the comments that I get. And unfortunately, this wasn't the only one. I get randomly random comments and posts. And this guy decided to super chat me, well, Sister George, $20 to let me know, you know, that I'm not as pretty as a white, Asian, or Latino females, and have fun dating convicts, dirtbags, and black losers. So, you know, me, I've gotten hit and bombarded with this type of rhetoric as well, where it's pinning me against other cultures, saying that I'm not as pretty because I'm not them, because I am black. I've gotten a lot of different comments too, saying you would be prettier if you were fair skinned, if your hair was longer. Um, so I just always kind of found it that's kind of interesting. But these are things that black women get bombarded with as well too. It's always a comparison. It's baiting Spanish women, Asian women, white women against us. I don't know if it's to make us feel bad. Um, I don't know what it's for, quite frankly. And I guess that's why I'm kind of on here, because I need y'all to tell me what this is about.
Black women get labeled as having attitude. Latin women get labeled as being crazy. That's a thing. So just because your guys are going for Latin women doesn't mean that they're necessarily better or worse. It's preference. Everything is preference. If I have been dating 5 black women and I've had bad relationships with 5 black women, then I decide, okay, I'm gonna start dating white women or Spanish women or Asian women or something other than black, and I have a better experience. You can't necessarily say, oh, because you're not dating black women that you're having a better experience. It could be also that I made a better choice in women. And I think that that's something that gets ignored. I mentioned in another video, is that people don't talk about choices. I'm the common denominator in every relationship, good or bad. I'm the common denominator, and I need to look at the fact and say, okay, who am I choosing? Who am I attracted to? If I like drama subconsciously, then I'm going to get drama. Black, white, brown, doesn't matter. You attract who you attract, and you're attracted to who you're attracted to. That's one level. The other level is that every time I get out of a relationship, good or bad, there are lessons that are learned. And I take those lessons to the next relationship. So if I date a white woman after having dated 5 black women, then that white woman is still getting the better version of me versus the 5 black women. And maybe the better version of me now is more lovable than the other 5 versions I was dealing with before. Perhaps if I went out and just went for one more black woman, I would find someone who would find me lovable. You see what I'm saying? So it's not about the color. It's about who you are and because you're not the same. Most people aren't the same person over and over again. Even subtly, there's changes. And when you change, that affects the quality of your next relationship. These guys on the panel were talking about how they've been hurt by women, and but nothing was ever discussed about, okay, what did you do differently with this new Latin woman than you did not do with the previous black woman or women you dated? If you get down into the granular of it, you will find out that there's differences. There are differences. Because you allow things to happen, you enabled things to happen, or you didn't allow things to happen. People take advantage of which people give. If you give people a rope, they will use it. They will take advantage. But it all depends on what you tolerate and what you didn't tolerate. No one's saying you're out here looking a glutton for punishment. You're only finding bad women. But you got to look at the fact that if you keep dating women that aren't good, then you need to ask yourself, what is it about these women that I'm attracting them, or that they are attracting me? That's a hard conversation to have, because it requires you accepting the fact that you have some fault in it. Not a lot of folks want to deal with that. It's a tough conversation. I know, I've had it. But at some point in time, you got to say, you know what? I can't say this relationship didn't work because of that person. I was part of it. Whether I was present, selfish, unattentive, whatever the case, I was still a part of the relationship, and therefore I have to own my part, the part that I played. You can't say you dated 5 bad women and all black women are bad. Blanket statements are a big problem. When you only have a small amount of women you can compare, you haven't dated enough black women to say that all black women are bad. There's a saying I saw recently online where it said, stop looking for the right one and start becoming the right one. You might be surprised by the results.
I'm not as pretty as white, Asian, or Latino females. I was like, okay. So do I think some men think that Latina women are better? That they look better? That they treat them better? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think a lot of men think that as far as black men. I think a lot of white men think that. I think when we look at these women and they seem quite exotic, men are attracted to that. They're attracted to exotic, beautiful women. And I don't necessarily see anything wrong with that. I think the issue that I have is when we're pinning each other against us, a woman against another woman. If you want that, that's definitely fine. Doesn't mean you have to degrade the black woman in doing what you prefer. I definitely don't think black men would want that either. I don't believe that rhetoric as if going overseas and getting someone there. I don't believe that those women are better than us. I think women are women. I think women have a human woman nature and might speak a little different, might sound a little different, might be lighter, might be darker, but women are women, people are people. And I'm really trying to figure out in this space, when are we going to start talking about the character of a person? When are we going to start talking about a person that has integrity? I don't care if you go overseas or talk to a J-Lo. They're still human. They still have imperfections.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. I think the whole conversation about colorism is a bad conversation, quite frankly, because I don't think it makes a difference. I don't think a Latin woman versus an Asian woman versus a black woman is any of them are any better than the other. Assholes are assholes. There's assholes in every color grade across the spectrum. I'm focused on character. Whatever color you happen to be is the color you happen to be. Don't get me wrong. I would love to be companioned up with, booed up with one of my black sisters. But at the end of the day, if it's not in the cards for me to be with a black woman, it's not in the cards. I'm more concerned about your character. I'm not going to sacrifice character, integrity, morality, all those other qualities because you happen to be black. I ain't putting that aside. And I come from an age where my mother told me you couldn't bring a white woman home. It was just not allowed. So I grew up in the mindset of only black women. But again, having bumped my head quite a few times in relationships, you learn that it's not about it's not about the color, it's about the person. What are they doing for you? How are you all together as a couple? Not about whether she's black or white or not black. So I'm at a point in my life right now where I'm like, look, if I'm with a woman who happens to be another color other than black, but she's treating me well, we get along great, and we have a fantastic relationship, sex is off the hook, I'm great.
Other cultures cheat. Other cultures are bad as well. So it's not just us. It's not just black women. Women over here in America, we just got some issues. It's been a whole lot of freedom that we have, and we just don't know what to do with it. Feminism not only affected the black community, it also affected, of course, white women, Asian women, Spanish women. It affected all of us here in America because of the freedom. I can attest, I've been wrong before. But for me to say, I love being a black woman, why in the world would I not want to be with a black man? This Jackson 5 nose that I have, these big old lips, big thighs. Yeah, if I say that I love myself, and I love being black, then why would I not want to marry someone that has the attributes like I do? Why would I not want my kids to look like me? And I think this is where I think of it. Um, and again, maybe I'm wrong, but I can't see myself saying I love being a black woman, but I don't want to be with a black man. That to me doesn't make sense. Now, I do believe love finds its way and you can meet someone of another culture. Absolutely. Yeah, I believe that. I have not just historically just dated all black men. And I understand curiosity. I get it. But I've never been, and nor do I understand where I'm just not going to date black women. I'm just not going to date any black man. That's just not what I want. I don't think black men are worthy enough to date me. I don't think black women are good enough to date me. I don't get that.
That's based on experiences. I would say that those people have been hurt severely, unfortunately, and they made the decision that I can't even deal with black women no more because there's just too much drama involved. So those people are hurt. It doesn't make sense to us because we haven't been through stuff like that. Well, we haven't been through stuff to a degree where we have now become jaded to that, and then moved into a place where it's like we're not going to do anything else with that particular group. We haven't been hurt enough to say that I'm done. I'm done. That's the difference. They have whatever their number is. They have a number and they met it. Their limit, I should say, and they met it, and they said, nope, that's enough. And like I said, I would wager that these guys that are dating Latin women or foreign women and getting better results now is because they have changed their habits. They've changed their behaviors. They've decided what they're not going to tolerate, and and what they will tolerate. And because their attitude has changed, then the way the woman is accepting them has changed. They just happen to be talking to a woman who's not black. Now, someone will argue and say, well, I've always been the same. I treat women the same. Da, 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 da. Well, again, if you're treating women the same and getting the same results, then you got to call into question, what are you doing wrong? Because it ain't just them.
And for the life of me, I'm trying to understand. Again, I get that there's issues. Obviously, that's why we all here trying to figure it out. But how we going to figure it out if we not with each other? There was a while ago, if y'all know who this little lady is, her name is Santana. Santana was on Love and Hip Hop, where she was talking about, again, something that black women already knew. We've been knowing for a long time how some black men feel about Spanish women, Latina women. And she got a lot of backlash. I don't know why, because she wasn't saying anything that wasn't true. Matter of fact, she was saying all facts. I think it just hurts to hear it. It just hurts to hear a Latin woman saying, yeah, black men treat me like a queen, in essence. When I hear other races saying that they're getting catered to by black men who I feel belongs to me, and I know a lot of people, they don't belong to you, whatever. Well, that's what I think. And I also think that I belong to the black man. Again, I'm for black love. I'm for black people loving and growing with each other. I'm for our culture. I'm for our community. So yeah, it does. I want black men to cater to their women, the black woman. I want black women to cater to their men, the black.
Yeah, but see, here's the problem with the catering, right? As soon as you start catering to black women, then you become a simp. Not black women at all. I mean, the women in general. So if you cater to anybody, then you're a simp. And I don't understand when and why being respectful to women became an issue. Why would you not want to cater to someone you care about or that you love? Why? And then look for them to do that in return. Why would you not mutually want to give that to each other? Why is that a problem? But that seems to be the talk of the day. It's like, oh no, you can't be nice, you can't be anything. If you're nice to women, it's a problem. What? What does that even mean? I think it's more about levels of what you allow. If you let people take advantage of you, yeah, then that's stupid. You shouldn't do that. But being nice to someone, being respectful, that's not a crime. That's not a bad thing. Being an asshole all day doesn't necessarily yield you all kinds of benefit and profit. It doesn't. In the long term, it doesn't. It may look cute for a little while, but it wears off. And people are gonna say what they're gonna say. Whatever. I was a simp. I know what it means to be a simp. I've been there. I allowed a lot of shit that I shouldn't have allowed. I tolerated a lot of stuff I shouldn't have tolerated because I didn't have the self-esteem and the confidence that I have now. Didn't have it then. But once you get to a place where you recognize and know who you are and where you stand, all that bullshit falls off. I know what I want. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. That's it. You can't deal with it. Keep it pushing. I ain't for everybody. I'm fine with that.
Like, man, that's what I see in essence is the best situation for us as a community, is for us to get back together and love on each other and make beautiful children that look like us. I know y'all gonna be like, what? Y'all black woman, y'all ain't treating a black man good. We not. Doesn't mean that can't be turned around. We haven't been treating ourselves good. Hell, I think black women, we need to go back to the drawing board and understand what love is, what loving yourself looks like, so we can love our black man. But damn, that shit hurts though.
I'm sure it does hurt. But at the same time that it hurts, you got to recognize that a lot of it has to do with preference. And if a guy prefers being with a Spanish woman, then that's his preference. It's okay. It's okay. It's one guy. It's a bunch of guys. Okay, but it's not the entire black male population has not given up on black women. I think that guys are making decisions, making choices based on preferences, based on experiences that they have had themselves, and that's fine. But we got to move away from these blanket terms of all black men can't take black women, don't like black women. That's not the case. There's guys out here that are into black women, but they just haven't found the right one yet. Shout out to iamcourtneymichelle for bringing up the topic and having the live stream dialogue to discuss it. Some of the comments were interesting, so if you get a chance to check it out, please do. And she also has other videos on her channel, so definitely stop by and give her a like and a look, or a look and a like. And if she earns your subscription, give her that too. But yeah, so that's all for today. Please leave a comment at the bottom. What's your thoughts about this whole debate about black women or black men moving on to other cultures versus dealing with black women? Is it right? Do they have a point? And what's your experiences like? If you found anything of value here, please leave a like. And until next time, we'll talk again. Be blessed.